Next question.
Do you think Jackson Merrill should make the All-Star team?
I think that Jackson Merrill should absolutely make the All-Star team. No question about it. He is one of the best center fielders in the National League right now. He has put together a amazing first half of his season so far. He's red hot, and he deserves it. Absolutely deserves it. No, I'm not just sitting here trying to be some type of homer, because that's not who I am. Jackson Merrill has played his way onto this team because the numbers don't lie. Everybody around him in the National League, he's pretty much better than in center field.
It's a sham if he's not on the team. Here's why. And thank you. Credit to Too Much Morton's on Twitter. League average for center fielders is basically a below average offensive player. League average center fielders are below average offensively this year, and Merrill's 28% better than league average. He's earned it fair and square. He's been as good of a center fielder as there is in the National League. Now, voters can vote. That's fine. If he's not voted onto the team as a starter, understood. That's based on vote. But he's earned a spot on the team as a reserve. 2.5 WAR is ridiculous. A 5 WAR season for a rookie. With everything he's done, especially lately, his OPS is pushing 800. He's hit for power here over the last month. There's no reason he should not be on this team. There's not one legitimate reason. I'm with you. We're in San Diego. It's easy to say, put the whole team on the team. We don't do it. Jackson, and by the way, I'll raise my hand. Guilty as charged. I was critical of their decision to start Jackson Merrill in center field to begin the year. I didn't think he would do this. I'll take accountability for that. That's fine. We're all right on things and wrong on things, but this is inarguable. He's earned his spot on this team. Now, there's politics. Every team's got to have a player. There's fan vote. I don't know if he's going to make his way on it, but I'm telling you, if he's not on the team, it's a sham because he's earned his way onto the team.
Yep. He has not proven people wrong, because I don't think you were wrong about Jackson Merrill. I just think that
I didn't think he would do it this soon.
The questions were completely valid. We never said, no one said,
there's questions
on us,
yeah.
like, oh, he's going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
There were
no,
just,
you're right.
You can have questions and not be deemed a hater.
Right,
it's just ridiculous how those things work out. Like, the questions were 100% valid. And if you don't think so, I don't know what to tell you. But all the questions that were had for Jackson Merrill, he has answered every single one of them, right?
Every single one.
And he has kind of exceeded expectations so far. I didn't know if he was going to be a 20 home run guy in his first season. Guess what? He probably is a 20 home run guy in his first season.
Sure.
Like, if he continues on this path with the power surge that he has had recently. But yeah, if he's not on the All-Star team, I just don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
How about his offseason? You go into it, he's a shortstop. Now, they tell him in the offseason, he was quoted in a podcast today. I think it's Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. He was quoted as saying this: I didn't even train in center field. I trained in left field the whole offseason, and I got to spring training, and that's when they're like, hey, you're in center. And I was like, oh, crap. He used a different word.
Yep.
I didn't even do any center field. I was doing left field, but I'm happy it went the way it went. Jackson Merrill on his offseason. From shortstop a year ago, Fort Wayne guys, struggling. First half of the year. To the offseason, hey, we might need you in the outfield. Well, Juan Soto's out the door. You may have a role immediately in the outfield in left. And then, oh, by the way, I forget about left for a moment. We got Profar. We signed him late February. How about center? I mean, that's a crazy offseason. And to just do this should be like, there should be a lot of attention on it. And there is locally. I don't think there really is nationally. This is not Paul Skeens nationally. It just isn't. Nope. It has not been that story at all.
But when he has been on a national stage, he's actually performed.
Definitely.
Like, that's a huge thing, is when this team has played on the national stage, he has performed in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just going to be hard to look past him on the national level. And if he does make the All-Star game, which he should, then his stock is just going to rise, just go through the roof as far as national publicity goes. I think he has this kind of it factor to him, and to hear those quotes about never playing in center field and being like, oh crap, like, what do we do? Like, and to basically look like a guy that's a 10-year vet in center field defensively.
Remember the articles? I don't know if it was Kevin or Dennis or both. But this idea that he will inevitably struggle. And when he does, how quickly does he get out of it? Remember that tenor, that type of article that was written, I don't know, in March, February, maybe even in April. There have been some periods maybe over these 85-ish games where they haven't been as good as the last 2 weeks, where he's been amazing. But he's never completely fallen off a cliff. There has not been an 0 for 30. It's not been a 1 for 29. There hasn't been drop balls in center, right? There haven't been terrible routes. There's been nothing. In fact, I don't have it in front of me. I bet Luis Ariz maybe has had a longer 0 for this year than Jackson Merrill. Think about that. I'm not convinced of it, but they're comparable. I'm telling Merrill's longest 0 for is not discernibly longer than Luis Ariz's longest 0 for this year. Certainly not longer than Manny Machado's.
That's wild.
Right?
I know.
I mean, it seems like that. If I'm off, I'm off. 70470, start it with team. But I'm watching, and you guys are too. There was a period of time where he wasn't as good, obviously, as he is right now this year. But maybe he had 3 consecutive games without a hit, but I don't think he's had 4. I could look it up at the game logs. It's proving our collective point, which is like, this guy is like the star on the Padres. I mean, they have a number of them, but you could argue he's right there with the stars of the Padres moving forward. That's for sure.
And hopefully he's back in Texas in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Where he's going to play tonight in the All-Star game.
That's pretty crazy.
Has Schilt been asked about that? Like at all? Like,
maybe
has there
today
been any campaign about, hey, what do you think of Jackson Merrill making the All-Star game? Because that's like a 100% valid question for everybody to be asking right now. Like, yes, he's been hot of late, but that doesn't take away the fact that his overall numbers are better than a lot of center fielders in the National League. Actually, I think he's the best in the National League.
But you make a good point, because for about a month, I'd say mid-May to mid-June, he's asked, hey, what do you think of Jackson Profar? Is Jackson Profar an All-Star? And he's singing his praises every night for like a month. And then eventually he's like, I'm done with it. He's an All-Star. This is so, it's stupid. He's the leading vote getter in the National League. He's an All-Star. But now it's like you turn your attention to Jackson Merrill. It's a good point. I feel like for a month straight, everyone's like, hey, Profar's an All-Star, right? And he's like, yeah, he's an All-Star. Well, at what point are you like, hey, Merrill's an All-Star, right? Yeah, he's an All-Star. Maybe that's already happened. Maybe he's already done. Maybe he's already stamped his spot on the team. But I don't know if it's as simple as that, with every team needing representatives. And if you're not starting, if it's going to be like possible or not. I think it's possible.
Do you like that rule?
The question is old as time, right?
Exactly.
The question is old as time. No, I think it's dumb.
I agree. It's stupid.
I think it's dumb. Am I going to watch in Miami because Jesus Luzardo with a 5.79 ERA is on the team? Now he's injured.
Right. But I get your point.
Yeah. Am I going to watch because name a team that's the White Sox representative is Tommy Pham. Now, oh man, Chicago's numbers are huge. Everyone's watching for Tommy Pham. You see, he got an at bat in the 8th. So it goes back to our Bronny conversation. Just earn it.
Yeah.
But they get cute here. It's like the fan vote. You want the fans to play a large role in things like these type of events, NBA, All-Star events. But then also you want it to be earned. You don't want the worst player in the National League starting at first base because you got the fan vote.
Like if somebody from the Chicago White Sox named representative, obviously they're going to get Garrett Crochet. He deserves it. He deserves it.
Unless he's traded. Yeah, but fair.
I'm trying to think of another bad team. Let's go with the Colorado Rockies.
Sure.
All right. They don't have anybody on that team that's deserving.
Right.
And then they're going to get somebody. And you're sitting there being like, man, I was an All-Star that year, but
Ryan McMahon.
The only reason why I was an All-Star is because we needed a representative. Like, that's not like something that you should feel proud of.
Right. Like the NBA now, the NBA's got 30 teams and the rosters aren't 30 guys.
But the problem in baseball, the rosters are like 38 in the All-Star game.
I know.
Or something crazy.
Just to fit on Ryan McMahon and whomever else.
Like, if you're going to do this by the book, or not by the book, but if you're going to do it to make it seem like a regular game,
make it 26 guys. Yeah, but you also know, like, the organization's like, oh, you can't pitch more than an inning, Garrett Crochet. And
you can't even pitch.
He can't even pitch. He pitched yesterday.
So the whole thing is just, I don't know.
I'm with you.
I don't mind that everyone gets in because we complain all the time about how baseball doesn't market their new young stars. And now it's like, oh, well, let's just take, close to half the league and just not have them even be present at the All-Star game. And it's like, how are you going to promote future stars? You said the Rockies. The Rockies have to have at least one guy.
Sure.
That's at least having a decent season.
I mean,
that doesn't mean just because
probably.
the team sucks, that doesn't mean that every single player sucks.
Well, even
But
if
you can't market the young stars, like I said, if you just exclude close to half the league and then just, go a whole weekend of hyping up the league and the future of the league. And then it's like, oh yeah, but 12 teams are not represented here. That tells you what we think of them.
Well, when you say young stars, like if they're playing well, then they're going to be in the All-Star game. Like they're not.
Yeah, but that also goes to our thing about baseball being regional. We could have people out here that play for the Padres that we consider stars, but if you go to the Midwest or the East Coast, they're going to go, who the hell's that guy? Why does he deserve to be in the All-Star game?
Well, also the baseball way is just appeal to like 8 markets. So it's almost anti-baseball that they let everyone get a fair shake. Isn't it true? How many times have you heard this complaint? Sunday Night Baseball is the Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Cardinals, and Dodgers, Giants. Those are the 3 series you would see on Sunday Night Baseball. I mean, baseball's always played its cards close to its markets. Like it's a Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants, Cubs league. That's the perception of the league. It's almost like San Diego's not allowed in that club, right? There was pushback when Peter Seidler was spending. Oh, man, is this good for baseball? The way they're not the Yankees. Why is this good for? So like it's their own fault. They made this bed. They want 8 teams to be relevant. Yet we have to have a Devil Ray in the All-Star game. Bad example because they've been historically good, but we have to have a Marlin in the All-Star game.
We have to have a Rocky in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, again, at the end of the day,
but that's the thing though, is if having a player from every team knocks out a guy like Jackson Merrill from making it,
that's where I have
who deserves it,
right?
And that's the problem with it. And it's not about the young stars. It's about who deserves it and who doesn't deserve it. And if a guy in the Rockies makes it because they need someone on the Rockies, but he's hitting 262, and you're going to have that guy in, and you're not choosing Jackson Merrill because you already have a Padres player in Jurickson Profar, and you need, I don't know. The whole thing is just, again, it's not what it was like it used to be, where it was cool to watch everybody stand on the foul line in their own jerseys, because now the jerseys are horrific.
Everything's for sale, right?
And it just doesn't have the same feel to it at all.
No, it doesn't. And that's the other argument about like, hey, don't you want to market your stars? Like, Brian, look at these. This is the rating trend with the MLB All-Star game. That's all you need to know. I mean, it went from, and again, maybe this is everything. It's not the NFL. It's not the NBA.
That's probably baseball ratings in general.
You're right. You're right.
All-Star game.
But from a 22.5 rating in 1993 to a 5, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just the trends. And it's not like this is going to have some type of audience that's like a World Series audience or an NBA Finals audience. It's not.
Well, again, and I'm not saying like Bud Selig was the end all be all, and it has to do with players and I get that. But also, you once again, when you have someone who's incompetent running or the face of a company or a brand or whatever organization in Rob Manfred, like leading the charge for Major League Baseball, you are doomed to fail. And that's in any walk of life. If you have somebody in a position of power, it's like that doesn't know what they're doing, that place is doomed to fail. In baseball, you're seeing what's happening.